Hello, welcome back. This is Frame by Frame. He's definitely feeling it.
Oh yeah.
That's like, get in there, Andy. So Andy Lewin is joining me, of course, today, as he always has done for the last 78 or 79 episodes, I think.
Yeah, so many episodes.
Yeah, so many. So we've had a few episodes. Mentally, psychologically. Yeah, so we're back again for our run through of the decade of the 90s. I don't know if we've actually explained that every time. We've just come back and said it's 1994, 95, 96. But
yeah, do people even know what we're doing?
But yeah, we've been running through the decade of the 90s. Why have we been running through the decade of the 90s, Andy?
Well, because just on a whim one night, I decided I wanted to watch The Fugitive. No, it was US Marshals. And I ended up messaging you and just saying, oh, we watched US Marshals with Wesley Snipes the other night and, Tommy Lee Jones. And what a great film. And you went, oh, well, the 90s, there's so many good bangers. We should do a thing about the 90s. I went, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, because I'd watched The Crow around about the same time, and I was like, wow, this is so good. I don't need to watch the new one. This is just amazing. I feel like I've just seen a great movie again.
Yeah.
And the 90s is packed. And to be honest, if you look at the numbers, the amount of movies that were made and released in the US, in 1992, over 1,400 movies were released.
Wow.
In 94, 1,500. In 97, the year that we're talking about now, 1,600 plus movies were released. So there were so many films. Do you want to know how many films were released in the US in 2021?
More than anything.
500.
Oh.
In 2022, 450 around about. And in 2023, just around the 500 mark again. So they are releasing a third of the amount of films that they were releasing back in the 90s.
That's crazy.
And Bollywood is still knocking out 1,000 to over 1,500 a year every year, without fail. They've got a solid cinema base, and I think people are just terrified to put faith in movies these days.
Yeah, you'd like to think they were trying to do quality over quantity, but
But it's so staggeringly different. I mean, Dolph Lundgren and Kelsey Grammer made a movie this year, and the budget for this movie was $12,000.
What?
Yeah. The budget for this movie, I can't remember what it's called, because I could have this information up right now, and that would have been the smart thing to do. Hang on, let me just very quickly. Dolph Lundgren, Kelsey. I mean, what a mix-up. Wanted Man, it was called.
Of course it is. You know what? If we couldn't find what the film was called, I would have said Wanted Man anyway, because it just seems...
Wanted Man. Sorry, it was 13,000, so they had one more thousand to play with, but $13,000.
Oh, well, that makes it fine then.
Yeah, it makes it fine. But $13,000 to make a movie, how much did they get paid? And was it all done on green screen in somebody's backyard? I mean, the difference between that and then $100 million picture, or a Marvel movie. The extremes of movies are so vast.
It blows my mind.
It's odd, because back in like 1997, where we're about to talk about, everything was done meticulously through production studios. They had to have a budget, they had to like the script, but they had so much more faith in the script. I mean, you look at the movies in 1997 and you tell me that there are some original ideas in this list. And there's Spice World.
You're on about all five of my choices are Spice World the movie.
Yeah, just forget the list. We don't care about the rest. But yeah, it's astonishing.
Just in the background, I've just put the trailer on to that film, Wanted Man.
Wanted Man.
It looks all right.
Yeah.
I mean,
but how much did they get paid? I mean, it's possible that they could have filmed it in a week and they just got paid $1,000 each. It's possible.
Yeah. You could have done it between whatever.
Yeah.
received positive review. Oh, right, no. That's a different film.
That's a different film. Positive reviews? No.
Yeah, positive. Yeah.
But yeah, Wanted Man. It's odd how it works. I mean, there's no consistency. There's no like a consistent line of films that are dealt with in the same way, with the same budget, with the same publicity. I mean, half the movies that are coming out in 2024 we don't know about until they hit the streaming services. Let's go back to 1997, Andy, and see where it was at its peak.
So you go first this time.
Right. Okay. So yeah, 1997 was an incredible year, and it was really difficult to go through this list. So I'm going to go in with the film Contact.
And you see, I would have picked this, but I knew you'd pick it. So this was one I thought I could just leave this alone.
This morning's detection of an unidentified radio source from deep space can neither be confirmed nor denied.
Whatever it is, it ain't local.
Position?
I checked interferometry somewhere in Lyra, I think.
Vega?
Can't be. It's only 26 light years away.
I want all these people out of here. Your having sent this announcement all over the world may well constitute a breach of national security.
Well, this isn't a person-to-person call. This may be an announcement to get our attention.
The president's called an emergency meeting.
You know those interlaced frames that we thought were noise? This has structure.
I'm going to recommend to the president that we militarize this project immediately.
There's no reason to believe that their intentions are hostile.
There's no proof of that.
Why don't they just speak English?
Mathematics is the only truly universal language, Senator. Buried within the message itself is the key to decoding it.
Those look like engineering schematics, almost like blueprints.
It is our belief that the message contains instructions for building some kind of machine.
A machine?
It might turn out to be some kind of a transport.
Transport? The fact is, you don't know what it does. It could be anything.
Nobody's saying this isn't dangerous.
They're gonna build it.
Who gets to go, though?
It's complicated, Ellie.
Who gets to go?
By doing this, you're willing to risk your life. You're willing to give your life and die for this. Why?
Now, the funny thing is that this was probably the first time a science fiction movie had come out with this huge expectation. And then so many people were disappointed in the ending because they didn't have aliens in it. You know, people wanted to have this gigantic encounter. That's kind of what all these movies are about. Contact. You're expecting a huge encounter. And, it's a Jodie Foster leading role film, her first real big budget blockbuster action film. This was the first time she was really full at it with special effects. Shit. What the hell? Oh, the printer. The printer is making noises behind me. What?
The aliens, mate. It's the aliens.
It's the aliens. So Robert Zemeckis directed this, and of course, it's one of those special effects movies that I find quite amazing. There are some incredible things happening in this film, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the film itself, Jodie Foster is a woman who is absolutely in love with the stars, in love with the exploration and the search for extraterrestrial life. She just wants to have at it, and that's a weird way of putting it.
Yeah,
she wants to.
I don't think anyone's ever said that about Contact before. She just wanted to have it.
She wants to have at it. She basically fights her way to a position of working for the SETI Institute, and she becomes very adamant that she's going to keep the budget rolling, keep this search for extraterrestrial life. They want to shut down all the telescopes, and she keeps on saying, no, we've got to carry on, and all of a sudden they get a signal, and it's the whole WOW signal story. And but this time they've got a response, they've got information which is embedded in a kind of a signal, and they've finally got contact from extraterrestrial life, and everybody wants a piece of it. I mean, it's the military are interested, but there is kind of like a prediction of the idea that the ones who are actually going to be leading this are not going to be just scientists, but they're going to be billionaires, trillionaires, people with enough money to just build stuff, no matter what. They just want to just build stuff, and they want to be the first. So there's a wonderful oh damn it, Elephant Man, Alien, John Hurt. Yeah, he is this trillionaire who basically goes to Jodie Foster and says, "You're going to be the one who is going to make contact, and I've built this device according to the specs of the alien message, because they actually gave them the information that they needed to build this device that will allow her to transport through a portal to make contact." And it's an incredible film. It's got a great cast. Matthew McConaughey is in it. James Woods is in this as well. There's
favorite person.
My favorite person. I'll let it go. I'll let it go. You never know. He might be right. I don't know. Jodie Foster. There's a little. Jenna Malone plays her as a young Ellie in this movie, and she did a great job. She was a phenomenal find for this film. They don't look the same. They're not the same kind of look at all. They could have CGI'd eyes to make sure that Jenna Malone's got brown eyes. Jodie Foster's got bluey green eyes. I've gazed into Jodie Foster's eyes a lot. I know this. And but yeah, the special effects. This is the era where special effects become subtle. It's about the tears on somebody's eyes that just weren't there in the shot when they filmed it, so they post-produced it. They added speckles on sand that were in the shape of constellation. The Ellie grabbing the medicine through a mirror shot has been talked about. It's an incredible film, but of course, let's get to the point. The point is that she's not there to meet aliens. We're not there to actually see aliens. We're there to understand that humanity still has a long way to go.
Yeah.
And this is, as always, it's always about the personal redemption and the personal journey that you take. It's not always about the bigger picture. And it's a wonderful film. It's got a great soundtrack. It's memorable, and yeah. It's got some great set pieces. It's got Crazy Jake.
He's in it.
Crazy Jake. What's his dad's
Those
name?
eyes, hasn't he? The crazy eyes.
Yeah, Jake. What's his name? His dad is also famous. See, this is where I thought I knew everything, but I don't. I'll insert the name in the dub. I'll just go Jake, who is the son of
Jake Busey. Of course it is.
Yeah, Gary Busey's son, Jake Busey.
Busey's son, yeah.
Is in
he
it.
looks just like him as well.
Yeah, Angela Bassett is in it as well, David Morse. My God, look at Jenna Malone now. She's 40 years old. The young girl who they cast to play Jodie Foster is now the same age as Jodie Foster in this movie. That's scary. That's nuts. But yeah, love this movie. Yeah.
It's worth noting it came from a story by Carl Sagan, didn't it?
Of course. How can I forget? Yeah, Carl Sagan was actually on the set for most part, and he also was so enjoying Jodie Foster's company that he asked her to do the audiobook for Contact.
Yeah.
So she did that as well. But I think this is probably the only time she's done an audiobook, a full audio. Which is great to listen to. She's got a great voice, Jodie Foster.
She has. She really has. Carl
Unique.
Sagan's always been one of those people that he's in my list of people that I wish more people had listened to.
Yes.
We might be a little bit further on as a species if people had really listened to what that man was saying.
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who is into astronomy has the right head on. I mean, you know, Patrick Moore, Brian Cox, people who are into space and looking outwards and understanding what this whole thing is, this cosmos, what it's about, they seem to have their head screwed on.
And just how insignificant we really are in the grand scheme of everything.
And I think that is the one thing. Yeah, that's the thing. And Contact is about that feeling of insignificance and not being believed, not being understood. And again, like I say, it's a personal journey. It's not about meeting aliens, you know? And so everybody who complained about this film were wrong. And that's my number one.
When did Independence Day come out?
Oh, wasn't that last year?
I can't remember. Cause I'm just thinking, because that's what people wanted.
Independence Day film, 1996. Yeah, we glossed over it last year because it was one of those blockbusters. Yeah, I mean, there are things about that film.
But if you can imagine, Independence Day came out last year.
Yeah,
last week. Sunday, and I'm only saying Sunday because we recorded 1996 on Sunday.
Yeah,
yeah,
makes sense.
And but that came out last year, and then there's another alien film coming out. Yes, and then it's Contact, and it's introspective, and it's like I don't want to think about stuff.
I know.
I want to see people get shot, and I want to see Will Smith punch things and be funny.
It's the whole Michael Bay thing.
Oh, making me think.
It was this is all down to Michael Bay, I think, especially with Armageddon. Just to name one.
Hey.
And but then you've got films that have come out recently that are just about the same kind of conversations. Like the Arrival, for example, is an amazing film.
Is that the Charlie Sheen thing?
No, that was one of them was the Charlie Sheen thing. This is the Amy Adams thing.
With, Amy Adams. That's incredible.
But the Charlie Sheen movie was one that was it was one of those. Again, they made movies
out the same year. 96, I think.
They did, but they made movies in the 90s that were just they took chances. There was a lot of films like that just took chances, that they're enjoyable to watch, but they don't have to be, they don't have to be right in your face. So yeah, I picked Contact. It's purely because of that. Yeah, because it's
yeah. Well, I knew you were going to pick that film, so I didn't have to, which is great. And you've talked about it way better than I would do. But yeah,
go for it, man. Number two, your number one. Sorry.
My number one, I again, instead of going a list of all my favorites, even though this is a comedy and one of my favorite comedy characters, and I went for Austin Powers.
Yeah, I'm glad you did because I thought you would.
Yeah.
In 1967, An international secret agent was cryogenically frozen in case the world ever required his services again. Now, evil is threatening the Earth, and the time has come to bring him back into the 90s.
It's not unusual.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Danger Powers Personal Effects.
Actually, my name is Austin Powers. Danger's my middle name.
I'm gonna need you to sign these release forms.
Okay, name. Sex? Yes, please.
In his time, he was the coolest secret agent alive. Unfortunately,
it's freedom, baby, yeah!
This is not his time. He's a swinger in a square world.
A lot's changed since 1967.
Bring on the sexy stews, man! Yeah!
We're called flight attendants now.
And he's a stranger in a strange land.
This is my mother, Mrs. Exposition.
Lovely.
Austin!
What have you done?
That's not your mother, it's a man, baby! Why won't this wig come off? Ow! That really hurt. Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
Mike Myers.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Elizabeth Hurley.
Don't forget these.
Oh, thanks.
Austin Powers. International man of mystery.
Always wanting to have fun, Austin. That's you in a nutshell.
No, this is me in a nutshell. Help! I'm in a nutshell.
I had to. It's just a hilarious pastiche on the whole James Bond thing, but also, it's got really witty, reverent script.
So.
Written by Mike Myers. Starring Mike Myers, as in lots of different roles in it, and it's just a really funny film. What more can you say, really? It's hilarious. It's really flips the whole thing on its head, but really, a lot of the 90s is films that have your cake and eat them, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Fearless movies. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is just that more so. So this was born out of Mike Myers' dad passed away, and so his dad was from Liverpool.
Yes.
But Mike Myers himself is Canadian, but he'd always had this affiliation with British humour because of his dad. And his dad passed away, and he came to Liverpool to see where his dad was from. And he was feeling quite distraught. And while he was there, he just came up with that accent, the "yeah, baby" accent. And he could not stop doing it. So something born out of a tragedy because he was so close to his dad.
Mm-hmm.
It was really... I think he was going through. I'm not sure I really want to work again. Out of that despair came this. Came Austin Powers as a character. Came Dr. Evil, which Dr. Evil was obviously a piss take on the. What's the actor who played Rain? Donald Pleasance.
Donald Pleasance, yeah.
Yeah, he's taking into account the Donald Pleasance character, that, but also, who's the leader of Saturday Night Live? Who's the guy who runs it all?
Oh, Lorne
Michaels.
Lorne Michaels.
It's also his voice, isn't it? It's Lorne Michaels' voice as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of because he'd just left Saturday Night Live. I think Mike Myers around this time, because he was suddenly he was in the movie industry. He made. So I Married an Axe Murderer, didn't he? And that was also a part of the evolution of his character, the idea of doing other characters.
I mean, this was sort of peak Mike Myers, really, where he was at the biggest and nothing he could go wrong. He had this, and obviously the two Austin Powers films that followed it, and then he sort of a little bit of trajectory down, where I think what happens with people like this when he's so successful and everything he's done has been so good, like Wayne's World and this, he just assumes that every idea he has is going to be brilliant, but not always. And
that's right. Yeah, I mean, this was a kind of a chance take, really, because he's not a very pleasant looking character, but the charisma that Mike Myers brings to Austin Powers is extraordinary.
Yeah, and it's not just that, because Austin's an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. He's an idiot. He's gross. He's got green teeth.
Yeah, but he's just something just lovable about the character. It's hilarious.
He's got an amazing love rug.
Love rug, yeah. I mean, this film is that good that Elizabeth Hurley's in it, and she does well in it.
Yeah, they even made her work. I mean, they also got Michael York to be less stuffy, you know, and relax, be a little bit more relaxed, because he's always been a very stiff actor. Not in a good way, not in a Boogie Nights way, but in a very, you know, not since Logan Run has he really let his hair down, I don't think. And then this came along, and I think he was perfect to play Austin's. Of course, what's his character's name? Basil Exposition. That's it, and that's become an actual term of phrase when it comes to movies over-explaining themselves.
Yeah, but I love how there's nothing about the film takes itself seriously. You know, there'll be like parts when they're going, well, you know, if anything, Basil, it'll just be a bit of a laugh, and we just want to have a bit of fun. And then they'll look deep into the camera and goes, we want you to have fun too.
Yes.
And then just carry on with the film. You know, that kind of thing. And I love that sort of breaking the fourth wall. And, you know, Robert Wagner being in it as number 2.
Yeah, again, it's somebody else who you don't expect to be in this kind of a film.
No. So, yeah, I wanted to mention... like what I was trying to say earlier and then forgot because I derailed myself, is what I do. Instead of picking all my favourites, even though I love this film and I think the whole series, and I think they actually weirdly get better as they go on. I think the third one is the best Austin Powers film.
It is. Well, I think it was.
I want films that,
chances.
to me, encapsulate 97.
Yes.
Opposed to me just going, this is what I love. These are the films that, to me, it just happens to be films I love as well, but encapsulate this year. Otherwise, I would never be able to pick 5 films because there's a lot of films on this, like Contact, that I would not be able to get
Love
past.
to pick, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like last year, 96 wasn't like that, and I think that's why we've been able to land on 2 of the films we picked, both 1 and 5. We picked the same films.
We were able to let go of a lot of films because we duplicated.
And it is what it is. I think as a film that really sets 1997.
Yes.
I think this is just...
Yeah.
This is the one, you know what I mean? I think it's absolutely hilarious. It's self-aware, it's brilliant. The script is great.
It's perfect for Anglophiles. It really kind of... it did a lot of good, I think, for a British...
it does, but it's a film that a British person could not make.
No, yeah, you're right.
Someone
Outsider.
who's Britain, and who can take what's crazy about certain parts of our culture and what's great about it, and make a film that we couldn't do. We couldn't make it. To take someone who's got a love for English humour, but also put that American-Canadian slant on it, and only an outsider looking in can make a film like this. We couldn't do it.
We couldn't do it. You're absolutely right. There's something to be said for that, and always the outsider, coming in can actually have that. It's like when we go over and take the mickey out of the US sensibility. It's fun, and we know it. We know it because they don't. You know, they have no idea how they are. They know what they're perceived as, but they don't get the true nuance of it, and only we would be able to do that on them. But yeah, you're right about this movie, but also the sequels. There's not a bad sequel in this trilogy.
I honestly think the films get better. I think the second one's better than this one, and the third one is the best of all 3.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that.
Do you remember?
Think Goldmember as the character, they're just so hilarious.
Brilliant. And also there's cameos with Tom Cruise as Austin Powers. I mean, who would get him to do that? Yeah.
DeVito plays Mini-Me.
Exactly. It's like...
Even Spielberg's in it. It's
because
crazy.
They love the series. You know, everybody, there's a lot of love for the series. You can't really not enjoy yourself watching these films, and that's the main thing. That's the big take home. That they are just.
Well, Spielberg being in the third one is because Spielberg making Indiana Jones was his version of a James Bond film.
Yes.
And this, so I think they're fantastic films. But like I say, you get better as they go on. I think he settles in, and I hope he makes another one. I really do, because he needs a good film to come out of Mike Myers.
And again, you'd think that it would all work to his favor, but the industry is so weird right now. It's so hard to know how that would work and where that would come from. Will they be meddling? Will he have full control? I think they should have full control, but who knows? Who knows? It'll be nice.
That's the thing with Mike Myers. I think if he hasn't got full control over what he's doing, he won't do it.
That's possible.
Like when we were talking about Wayne's World, he nearly pulled out of it because they were trying to lobby to have Sweet Child of Mine in it instead of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
I just think it has to be Bohemian Rhapsody. If not, he was willing to walk away from the project, and they just caved in. And he was right. He's right. But then he gets misconstrued as being difficult, but I'll be the studio saying he's difficult to work with, and he's like, no, I'm just not letting you mess with the vision I've got for the thing I know will work.
Look, you are the money people. I am the creative person. I know what they want because I am them. I am the audience. I don't know why he talks like that, even when he's
But then, and then he made The Love Guru, which is shite. So,
But then you've got to have a bomb in your career, and I think people should. People come back from bombs on fire.
And it's also because he's been in some Tarantino films, and he's brilliant in them. He has cameos, he turns up, and he's great. But I think he's also he's got the Tarantino effect where I think because he went so big and everything he did was so brilliant. Then he had no people around him, no people going, no, don't do that. He has got no Dana Carvey or anyone to bounce off to say, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah, people he trusts.
He's like, this is truly my vision, and I'm brilliant. Clearly, I'm brilliant because I've just made all these brilliant films. And I think that's what Tarantino has now. Tarantino has no people around him says, don't do that.
Yeah.
3 hours is too long. Cut it down. No, stop that.
And I'm afraid to say that the same is said about Francis Ford Coppola and his. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if you've read any reviews of Megalopolis, but it sounds an absolute crazy ride. I've not watched it. I've not seen it yet.
I haven't watched it, and I want to kind of reserve my opinions. But I mean, he's so much better with smaller visions, more independent visions. I mean, I don't think this is his forte. He's about people in real world circumstances. Even though this might be his love child of a passion movie, it's not always what works. But Austin Powers, bang on, baby. And that's not the only movie that's a big celebration of British culture in that year.
Ooh.
No.
Is this your number 2? Was that a segue?
No, it's definitely not a segue. It's basically
good at podcasting for a second.
No, I thought we could have been getting good at podcasting, but we're not. Okay, we have to, But I don't know if it's a pick or if it's going to be an honourable mention. So I didn't want to jump the gun. So let's.
All right, well, leave it then.
Yeah, for now we'll just
part that for now.
Park it for now. Okay, so my number 2.
Yeah.
Is Curtis Hansen's directed LA Confidential.
Yes, very good.
They were 3 cops who had nothing in common.
Freeze! Big V, what are you doing here? Hey, me, I'm keeping the streets safe, boys.
One would do anything to get ahead.
You're truly prepared to be despised within a department?
Yes, sir, I am.
One had his own brand of justice.
How's it gonna look in your report? It'll look like justice. That's what the man got.
And one loved the spotlight.
What exactly do you do on the show, Jack?
I teach Brett Chase how to walk and talk like a cop.
The Night Owl Massacre. This is a heinous crime that requires swift resolution. 6 victims. One of them, one of our own. Interrogations will be led by Lieutenant Eben Exley.
I need some backup. Come on.
All right, college boy, I'll help.
Now, all of them are faced with solving one case.
Don't move! I want confessions, Edmund. Oh, I'll break them, sir.
These people are all in the morgue.
And someone has to pay for it. There's something wrong with the Night Owl. I just can't prove it.
They thought they had it all figured out.
Anything bothering you about the Night Owl case?
The fact that you guys won't let it get filed away.
I didn't kill nobody!
But what started as a murder
You talk only to me on this one.
became a mystery that could cost them everything.
Why was Susan Lefferts at the Night Owl?
I don't know. I never heard of the Night Owl till today.
How about some payback, big time?
We need evidence. I'll get the evidence.
It was an information exchange.
Do you have any proof? The proof had his throat slit. What do you want, actually?
I just want to solve this thing.
Even if it means paying the consequences?
Academy Award winner Kevin Spacey, Russell Crowe, Guy Pearce, James Cromwell, Kim Basinger, Danny DeVito. L.A. Confidential.
I have it on VHS.
Is that like a DVD?
Yes, but I also have it on DVD.
Wow. Do you have it on Blu-ray?
No.
All right.
Oh, no, I don't have it on 4K either.
Oh, get back in your box.
I've got it in brass rubbings, though.
Yes! What a film.
What a film.
LA Confidential is.
LA Confidential was a shock to the system of Hollywood, I think. Yeah, once you start watching that film, you are transported, man. You are there. It's gangster's paradise. It's so good. It's just hard to kind of let's start from the beginning. It's a kind of like it's Los Angeles Police Department against the world, basically. It's a fight for corruption within the LA police force. It blends in with the whole backdrop of Hollywood, and Hollywood is kind of like used as a kind of like a media device back in the day. This is like the early TMZ Hush Hush magazine, run by Danny DeVito's character, who basically they arrive at crime scenes, they do coverage, they make up all the drama that spins around all these different celebrities who are caught with their, either with their pants down, or caught with their hands in the cocaine, or caught with their head down the toilet. And it's an incredible tape, because they don't pull back. But then you've got the police corruption, then you've got stuff going on with you've got Guy Pearce, who is this I mean, casting him as a lead, I mean, that's a risky thing. I mean, this is Hollywood taking risks with casting somebody who was not relatively known. He had done Memento, and he'd done.
It was hot property after Memento, though, because that film, even though it was a small film at the time, it went big in there.
It went big, and people had a lot of love for Australian actors. There still is. There's a strong thing about people who are Australian are often the solid actors, and they seem to be like that.
You've got like Hugh Jackman.
Such as Hugh Jackman.
That's the one.
But I can actually mention more.
Yeah, I mean, like
Nicole Kidman.
He's brilliant.
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Mind block. It's amazing. The mind block. It's crazy. I could name tons of them, but I won't. That's it. I made a choice. I'm not going to name any more. But
I was just going with your list of one. I still love the list of one thing.
But Guy Pearce, we know him, of course, in the UK because he was Mike in Neighbours for a number of years, and there are quite a few alumni from Neighbours who kind of made it.
Yeah.
Kylie Minogue, Jason Donovan. I've named two, so I might have to name a third. But whoever played Jim Robinson, who's been in movies a lot, he was even the president of the United States.
Was Russell Crowe ever in Neighbours?
He was. I think he was. Or yeah,
I think he was. Yeah.
I mean, you've got such a good stock of actors. I'm just going to get Jim Robinson from Neighbours.
That's what you can say about Russell Crowe.
Yeah,
brilliant. He's great in this.
Exactly. Go on. Yes, I've got Jim Robinson's name. I'd like to know the actor. What was his name? Alan Dale. He's not in this movie, but James Cromwell is, and he's also Australian. So this is a very Oz-led cast. Kim Basinger's in it. She plays Lynn Bracken, who is a kind of like a siren. She's kind of like the Hollywood star of the time, and there are people who are being altered with cosmetic surgery at this time as well. So people are getting nose jobs, and that's a part of the whole conspiracy that's kind of led with the backdrop of all the crime stuff that's going on, and all this celebrities just going crazy. And it's quite an interesting take on that. But for the most part, it is funny.
Yeah, it is.
It's violent.
Yeah.
It reminds me so much of Chinatown and The Two Jakes and that kind of. But it's it's really hard to describe this film. But
it's brilliant.
It is brilliant.
Such a brilliant film.
So much goes on in it, and that's the thing. It's one of those films that is watchable over and over again. I watched it with Catherine very recently, and even though she doesn't like violent films, but she stayed through with this one because it was just so darn entertaining.
Yeah.
You can kind of blow past it and just enjoy the characters. They are very, very good characters. Even Kevin Spacey's in it.
Yeah. That's the thing, we're not allowed to like him anymore, but he was a really good actor.
He was. Oh, a bit of a... Speaking of that, a quick sidestep. Last year, 1995's podcast came up with, of course, Liv Tyler's Thumbnail, which is doing really good business for us. But now our podcasts come up with a list of people who were mentioned because, of course, AI is listening to everything that we say. So anybody that we mention becomes listed in the information below. And so it's like we've got like a list of like 30 people in that podcast, and they say, Tom Cruise, American actor, Jenna Malone, American actress, Nicole Kidman, Australian actress, and then with Harvey Weinstein, because we mentioned him, it says Harvey Weinstein, producer and sex offender.
We've won this.
It's like, we've done. It's like it tags him as a sex offender, so we don't have to worry about it. We just basically, if Kevin Spacey is mentioned in this podcast, just read down below if you need to know anything about him. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
But we like his acting. We like the films that he's in.
Well, he was a good actor, and that's the thing, isn't it?
Shit
just because he's done awful, shitty things.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he's not good in the things he was in. He's just done awful, shitty things.
That's personal life, and this is a movie. And he is really good in this movie. He's enigmatic. He's perfectly. Everybody's perfectly cast in this film. There's not a wrong step at all. There's nobody who kind of like. Why did they? There's no Sophia Coppola moment to be had. Yeah, so there we go. LA Confidentials. Go and see it if you haven't seen it, and it's well worth your 2.5 hours. It's quite a long film.
It is, yeah, but a very good film. It's one of those that just whisk by. You don't feel the 2.5 hours. Yeah,
exactly. You're just immersed in the whole, and you just take everything as it is. It's it's a good ride. Good ride.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, my number 2, going from my number 1 last week, Sunday.
Yeah, so long ago.
Now Tuesday. Is from a film that's a horror film, a stabby horror film, Scream, that I don't believe is scary in the slightest, to a film I believe is absolutely terrifying. I went with Event Horizon.
Yeah, I'm glad you did, man.
This morning, TDRS picked up an automated navigation beacon broadcasting at 2-minute intervals in Neptune orbit.
This is incredible. It's the Event Horizon. She's come back.
Event Horizon is the culmination of a secret government project to create a spacecraft capable of faster-than-light flight. The ship doesn't really go faster than light. What it does is it creates a dimensional gateway that allows it to jump instantaneously from one point of the universe to another light years away.
Where's she been for the last 7 years, Doctor?
That's what we're here to find out.
After 7 years in deep space. There were 18 people on board this ship when it disappeared. I want them all accounted for.
Opening outer door.
It came back, abandoned.
Any crew?
Negative. This place is a tomb. But it didn't come back alone.
Captain Miller! I've got some problems here!
Has been beyond the boundaries of our universe. Who knows where it's been? And what it's brought back with it.
What is it? The ship is reacting to us, and the reactions are getting stronger.
What are you telling me? That this ship is alive?
I have such one thing to show you.
Oh my God! It knows my secrets. It knows my fears. Vacate, I want off this ship.
I can't leave. She won't let you.
Directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who went on to do films that are not as good as this.
Heard about him.
This is I would say an astonishing film. I think it's genuinely scary. It's great set pieces. It's like it's like your horror equivalent to Contact. So
yes,
you know what I mean. So Event Horizon is it's the name of a ship that went missing. It went to it went missing after going to
Jupiter, I think.
No, that's not where it was going.
That's not where it's going.
It was going to Proxima Centauri. That's where it was going, and
that's
it disappeared.
Got you.
7 years later, it resurfaces around the orbit of Neptune.
That's
you get this. There's like a signal coming from it, so you get a very alien-esque rag team astronomers who are basically tasked to go over and just see what was going on the ship. Well, you know where it's been, what's happened to it. You got Lawrence Fishburne, Sam Neill's in this, who was the who built Event Horizon.
Yeah, he's Australian.
So what? And he's a Russian actor. He's very good.
Yeah.
And the idea is, it's like, instead of trying to go across the universe or the solar system to get something, what if you could bend the system? So like a piece of paper, instead of going from the top of the piece of paper to the bottom of the piece of paper, you put those points together and push a wormhole through it. And instead of going from one part of the universe to the other, you bend space and time and just pass through. And that's what Event Horizon does. It's got this contraption on it, which is the Event Horizon, that can do this. It can literally bend the universe. And the idea is, where's it been for 7 years? And it's come back. And what's it brought with it? And that's kind of what it's about. And what it's brought with it, it's sort of implied that it's been to hell and back.
Yes. It's found hell, and it's a lot further away than we think.
Yeah. And it's brought it back, and this film is now... This ship is now not a ship, but an actual living entity. And people's worst nightmare gets into people's heads, and it'll give you your worst nightmares, the things you fear of the most.
Yeah.
Or the things that's happened in your life that's terrified you the most. Or things that you wanted laid buried. It brings them up. This film is brilliant. It's a brilliant film. It's scary. It's well acted. Everyone in it is again another perfectly casted. Like Jolie Richardson in this film is brilliant, and a British actress who, she ended up doing a few little rom-coms here and that, but in this she's fantastic. Sam Neill is as good as you'd ever imagine him being.
Catherine, somebody's in this.
Kathleen Quinlan.
Kathleen Quinlan, yes, she was Tom Hanks' wife in Apollo 13. She's also good. She was also in Breakdown with Kurt Russell.
That Breakdowns, but that was another 90s film.
Another 90s film. But yeah, she's also great. And the thing about passing through the paper is, the description, Sam Neill's description of putting the pencil through the paper. So easily explained. And it's perfect. They didn't have to go through any jargon. They knew exactly how to explain that. And that was it. We can just focus on the horror. We can just focus on the sheer, and it is terrifying. It is. And
Jim, so when you get there, they play a tape, don't they? But it's all distorted and you can't see, but you just see flashes of what's happened, all this kind of stuff.
Latin.
And well, the Latin is
Liberate tutte me. Liberate, because they think it's liberate. They think it's liberate me, but then they realise that there's a little bit of garbled in there, which is tutte me, which is instead of save me, liberate me, it's liberate tutte me, save yourselves.
Save yourself,
yeah.
But
great. I love those little things. I love that.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Discovering
the screenshots of the stuff that happened because they wanted to put it in the film, but it was that graphic. They had to keep it out.
There is
that bad. What did
version,
happen? Right? He's never seen the light of day.
Oh,
the version's never seen the light of day.
Wow.
Apparently, he couldn't release it. Apparently, it was that graphic and that awful. But you can see the screenshots of it, of certain parts that people put. It's all online. You can go and see it, and it's horrific. It's like a big steak going through someone's body, and there's all these maggots on the steak, and there's all this. The pictures are awful, and I have a bit of a personal love for those little bits because one of my favourite presenters and actresses is someone called Emily Booth, who no one knows who she is, but she was like a B-movie actress. She did a TV series. Do you remember Bravo on Sky TV?
Yes, I do remember that.
There was a thing on it called Shock Movie Massacre, and it was all about horror movies and fringe cinema. And she was the presenter on it. And she had this intelligence about her that I really liked. And it helped that she's very attractive. And I really liked her because she had this... When she was interviewing people, no one could ever get one over on her. And I really loved her for that. But no one ever knew who she really was. And she never broke through. She did a few indie films in this year. She did a film called Evil Aliens and that. But she was one of the actresses that was in the Event Horizon in that part, in the horrible bit.
Right.
And you never got to see. And I have a bit of a personal thing with that. But this is just a brilliant film. A really, really brilliant film. It's horrific. It's scary. It doesn't hold back. It doesn't patronize the audience at all. It doesn't say, "Oh, we better not do that because that might be a bit too much." It's 18 and it's gone for it. And God bless it for that. And I love this film. I really love this film.
So many let's go and investigate a spaceship movie never lives up to its reputation. There's a whole bunch of them. And there's one that I have them in, Solaris and Sphere.
Solaris.
There's several films that kind of didn't quite make it to what people expect. And the thing about when you have a scenario of going somewhere and you have to explore something where something bad has happened, the audience is already there with their expectations. It's so hard to pull it off. And I think you're right. Event Horizon, it really doesn't hold back, and there's nothing that you could expect. Nothing. No, it's phenomenal.
And it does that, like that, the fact that the ship has gone to hell and come back, and it's brought that with it.
Yeah,
you feel that. You know, the same way when you watch The Exorcist, when we've talked about The Exorcist quite a lot, and you feel The Exorcist has got something like the celluloid. There's something wrong with the film that it was made on.
Yes.
This film does that really well.
Yeah,
it's
you
like
feel it.
The whole, like Alien, the film has a mood that gets into you.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people don't think of when they're making a horror film. They don't think that we've got to create a mood that really gets into the soul of the people who's watching it. That generally, you feel unnerved and scared before anything's really happened.
Exactly.
That's what this film really does. And bloody W.S. Anderson, I mean, he went on to do the Resident Evil films. He did Alien vs. Predator. He did Death Race. I mean, what the fuck is going on with this guy?
I mean, he could have.
He had this film inside of him. He did Monster Hunter in 2020, which apparently is all right. It's got Tony Jaa in it.
He just had one film. He just had one film, Andy. And saying about films that I mean, a lot of them do try to put this kind of like that feeling in the negative, but because because they rely so much now on computers and post-production, you watch the film Antrim, which is self-proclaimed to be a film that will actually kill you, which is ridiculous. And it has that goddamn awful documentary at the beginning that it doesn't need to make you think. Just remember, this film will kill you. This film is going to kill you. This will happen. Look here, and it will happen. Instead, scrapping all that, getting rid of all that post-production stuff, the film itself is pretty good. The film itself could be pretty haunting if you just let osmosis spread and let the film speak for itself. And then that's,
absolutely,
instead of actually popping all these little subliminal symbols in for no apparent reason and then amping it up with that stupid documentary, let the film speak for itself. And that's
what I mean. That's what I mean about not patronizing your audience.
That's it. Yes.
Just saying, right? I believe in what we've done here. There's something we've created something special, and it's got a mood about it. Yeah. I don't need to tell everyone it's got a mood. I'm not going to tell everyone that. We don't have to explicitly say that this ship's been to hell and back, and what's a bro with it.
Exactly.
You experience it with the people in the film, and you feel that mood and that.
Yeah,
it's a, like you mentioned, Sphere. That's got Sharon Stone and Samuel L. Jackson in it. Talk about two bankable actors, but it doesn't come close to this film. It really doesn't.
And Dustin Hoffman. I mean, all three of them together.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, come on. And it's like, I mean, I like the film. I love the commentary because they like. Dustin Hoffman and Samuel L. Jackson sit there talking about the film, ribbing Liev Schreiber, who's in the film as well. Yeah. And they just say, "Oh, look, there's Liev. He's doing that thing." Liev, and it's like it was a really fun commentary to listen to. Sometimes the stuff that goes around the movie can be more interesting than the movie itself. So it's worth getting the DVD and listening to the commentary on that one because it's pretty good.
I know, because we always said this was going to be a bumper episode, didn't we? What's your favourite commentary of all time?
Oh, my favourite commentary of all time. Well, Sphere is actually right up there at the moment.
Yeah, I remember listening to the Sphere commentary and loving it.
Yeah, loving it. But I really enjoyed Jodie Foster's commentary for Contact. Now, I'm having to look now because I'm thinking.
I have to. While you're looking,
the Deer Hunter is good. The Deer Hunter was good because it's Mike Cimino doing the commentary, and he gets really emotional through that one. Yeah. The Ghostbusters one is great because they're doing the MST3K thing with their silhouettes on the screen. But yeah, maybe we should do a podcast on commentaries. And
maybe I can tell you quickly my favorite too. I have two of them. One is The Thing, Kurt Russell.
Oh, yes, that's another great one.
Yeah, it's just literally two friends meeting up and having a laugh, and it's lovely.
I love that.
Weirdly, probably that might slightly trump it is Guillermo del Toro talking about Blade 2.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you see, that's what we should do.
He's laughing his bollocks off through the whole thing. Because I don't know if you've seen Blade 2. This is genuinely a really good film. It's actually gory. It's really scary. And he's just laughing his ass off of what they got away with making this film. I love it. But anyway,
I have to say, we will definitely, because we can actually include that in the podcast, the commentary, things that were said in commentaries. That could be a really interesting season of talks that we could do. Very much so. But I have to say that the best commentary for a TV series that I've ever listened to is Ronald D. Moore's commentary for Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined one. Because he's at home in Los Angeles, he's talking about the film. He starts about the episodes. He starts off with telling you what whiskey he's drinking, what's cigarettes he's bought that day. And then
really?
Always there's either the garbage truck outside, and or his wife comes home with groceries, and she's telling him off for smoking, and he says, "I'm not smoking again."
Oh,
I'm not
wow,
smoking.
that's fantastic.
And it's wonderful. But yeah, so I mean, I have them because they were all available online to download, and for almost everyone. He didn't do one for absolutely every episode, but he almost pretty much did. There's about 60 episodes of commentary here, and it's just amazing. I love Ronald D. Moore's commentaries for that. Well worth checking out. I'll have to send them to you. Well, yeah.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, it's just fun to listen to in the car, and you don't have to know what's going on in the episodes. He tells you what's going on, and sometimes he has people with him. Sometimes David Icke is there, and they talk about everything in such a fun way, and it's just funny and enjoyable. And
David Icke,
he's the producer.
Not that David Icke.
Is it David Icke? Do you know what? It might not actually be David Icke.
Oh, the conspiracy theory nut job.
Ronald D. Moore and David Icke. Yes, it is, but it's E-I-C-K. David Icke. I thought that was right. Yeah, David Icke.
Wow.
Different person, very much, but yeah, he has the cast. They also did round table discussions about the script for Battlestar Galactica Razor, and you've got like 4 hours of the actual sit down table discussion about how they're going to do the story, how they're going to progress the characters, and for anybody who wants to learn how to put a TV show together, how to actually understand what a TV show does. That is kind of like the audio Bible, everything that Ronald D. Moore has done for that podcast, and I'm so glad you opened up this Pandora's box. It's like,
yeah, right. We'll have to make a note. That's the podcast. We'll talk about
that. Is yeah. Make a note. We'll do that. Okay, so where are we? Event Horizon. Yes.
Yeah. So you're number 3.
My number 3 is As Good as It Gets.
Wow.
Brian says he doesn't care how long you've been coming. You ever act like this again, you're barred for life. I'm gonna miss the excitement, but I'll handle it.
3 eggs over easy, 2 sausage, 6 strips of bacon with fries.
Fries today.
A short stack, coffee with cream and sweetener.
You're gonna die soon with that diet, you know that.
Well, we're all gonna die soon. I will, you will, and it sure sounds like your son will. They rented your place furnished. Jackie said she was gonna bring your personal things. They were gonna set you up in here. It's an extra room. I never use it. It's got good light. No other choice, really.
I'm coming.
Well, it's nice. It's looks good. They got your music, paintings. Paints. Have to say they did a good job. It's it's gonna be okay, huh? Cozy, huh?
Yeah. Thank you, Melvin. I love you.
I tell you, buddy, I'd be the luckiest guy alive if that did it for me.
Okay.
James L. Brooks, As Good as It Gets. Now, 1997 was a kind of an interesting year because I left school in 95, 96, and I was at college. And of course, in college, you start dating and doing stuff and going out. And I went to see As Good as It Gets 3 times in the cinema. This is probably the 1 year where I used to just go to the cinema all the time. Didn't matter, but yeah. But this was kind of like date night for me. As Good as It Gets, Good Will Hunting, etc. Boogie Nights. But yeah, As Good as It Gets, I loved it so much. I bought the soundtrack. I had a friend who went to America and brought over the American VHS tape of it, and I have the NTSC copy of As Good as It Gets right up there, and it hasn't been watched.
Right.
And so yeah, I love this film so much. It's James L. Brooks leading with. I was about to say Nicolas Cage. That's really wrong. Jack Nicholson. different. That would be in a different film. Jack Nicholson, Helen Hunt, Greg Kinnear, Cuba Gooding Jr. It's a comedy. It's a romantic comedy, but it's got so much bite, so much vigor, and it's a lot of fun. Greg Kinnear is actually really good in this film. I gotta say, he's very touching about his backstory and how his character evolves through this. But the big evolution, of course, is Jack Nicholson playing somebody who he's on the spectrum.
Very much so. He OCD has the name.
He's neurotic. He's got OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, but he's also very much autistic in his, because he doesn't always make eye contact, and he says what he thinks without filters, and the whole thing is about his being able to insult people to their faces without any filters, and this is what he does. He lives in New York City, and he's just an atrocious person. But of course, mirroring that, you've got Helen Hunt, who is a mother who has a son who struggles with staying healthy. He's I think he's I'm not too sure if he's diabetic. He has numbers. It could be sugar levels.
There's something wrong with him that Helen Hunt can't really afford to look after.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like either hypoglycemic or diabetic, and she's struggling. She's a single mother. She has her own mother helping her from time, and but the priority is her son. She works as a waitress, and of course, she's a waitress at Jack Nicholson's one place where he likes to eat. And he only likes to
every single day. He only has her serving.
He only wants her, and of course, when the son is sick and she has to take time off, he loses his marbles. He kind of flips out. He gets thrown out the restaurant because he wants Helen. Where is she? If she can't serve me, nobody can serve me. Elephant girl, he's so rude. So anyway, he's not going to stand it. Helen Hunt wasn't there, and it's ruined his day. So he goes looking for her, and they strike up this kind of this connection. He starts to learn about compassion and concern for her, and the son, and he starts to realize how important he is. He has a neighbor, Greg Kinnear, who has just been robbed. And
he actually has the shit kicked out of him, doesn't he?
Which is probably the most savage beating I've seen in a domestic comedy. Really, when
you see him in the hospital and all his eyes closed and he's really messed up.
He's really messed up, and I mean, because
the face they've left you with there.
It's terrible. But of course, Greg Kinnear has a little dog. And the dog gets the neighbors knock on his door, Jack Nicholson's door, and says, "We need help. He's in hospital. We need you to look after the dog." So again, his world is just spinning out of control, and he's got to learn to kind of ground himself, learn from it, anchor himself, and start to realize that there are people out there who are meaningful, and that he needs to have people in his life. And it's a beautiful story, and it's so well done, so well written. And they go on a journey together. It's kind of like a tiny little bit of a road movie as well involved.
Yeah, it is.
There. And these three characters, Helen Hunt, Greg Kinnear, and Jack Nicholson, just all learning from each other. And it's an incredible growth movie. And it's funny.
It's not only Jack Nicholson trying to realize that he can't act the way he acts.
Yeah.
Does everyone else come to terms of he can't help acting the way he acts?
Yeah, and the learning, understanding that this is actually not, he's not going out of his way to do it on purpose.
He can't help it.
He can't help it, and maybe
I
there's
love
something.
that really pretty girl who's, I think she's the receptionist at his publisher.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh my God, it's you, you know." And he's like, "Oh, Jesus Christ." And she said, "Please just tell me, how do you know what's going on in here and in here?" And he goes, "I think of a man and I take away reason and accountability."
Yes.
And he just walks out, just leaves us stuff there.
It's like, oh, but it's so clean cut.
Yeah.
The dialogue is so clean and meaningful. There's not a meaningless. I mean, even Harold Ramis is in this movie as the Doctor, who Jack Nicholson pays for.
That's right. Forgot about that.
He appears in this, and he ends up being the Doctor who Jack Nicholson basically pays to get healthcare for her son, the proper care, the proper meds, and all of a sudden Helen Hunt realizes that this guy Jack Nicholson is a person who has a heart and has and it's it really. I think if I watched it again now, I'd probably feel more emotional about it because there is so much.
Because like with that, is it because he's got a heart, or because that's where it is at the minute at that point in time in the film? Is it because he's got a heart, or is it because he just needs her back at work?
Is that it? Well, yeah. True. I mean, there's the selfishness behind everything that they do, but at the same time, it's the selflessness that kind of comes out, and it's a weird dichotomy.
It is. Now, I will say that this film is quintessentially 90s.
Yeah.
We were going through a little thing. We were watching all these films from the 90s here a couple of years ago. And one of them was like, we watched Jerry Maguire, we watched this, and this was one of the films we put on. And under rewatching, it's really mean.
Yeah.
Really mean. It's like, even though obviously there's redemption in it and it's really well acted and it's really well written and all that, I found it quite savage and very difficult. I don't mind films like that, but there's something, the film felt mean.
Because things weren't that mean in the 90s, yeah. We didn't see it.
But I experienced something more than I had the first time I watched it. And where I loved the film, I thought it was hilarious and heartwarming and everything I wanted out of that film. I didn't feel it when I watched it recently. I just felt, this is really mean.
Do you think you're kind of reflecting on today? Because,
I might be. This weird thing. She's changed. I'm a dad now. I wasn't a dad when I watched it. I never even dreamed of being a dad.
True. Yes. Yeah. I'm the same, probably. Yeah.
I hate to be that guy. Well, speaking as a father, as if it's a euphemism for talking out my ass. You know what I mean? But it's like it just felt different. I didn't enjoy it as much as I had done. I would very much like you to watch it now and let me know what you think.
I'd love to, because I do know that the guy who is on a date with Helen Hunt, who walks out on her on that date because he says it's too much reality for a Friday night.
Yeah, and she's got a bit sick on her and that.
And you know what? If I was that guy, I would actually stay. I mean, there's something about her, and there's something about the idea that she loves her kid and he's not very well. It's not that the superficial shallowness of a man wanting to be on a date because he just wants to get laid is so annoying. I want to slap him. I want to slap him. Yeah,
it's annoying, but it's also, you kind of go, but yeah.
But yeah, at the same time,
there are a lot of men that just want to go out on a Friday night and meet a girl and have sex.
But it's kind of like,
he's not a bad person for that.
No, I guess not. But for me, I think it is, because I was the worst guy to understand when a girl is giving me signals. I literally sat there once watching an anime movie with a girl. I had no idea what her intention was. I just thought she wanted me to come around and watch films with her. And I did. And then I left. And she messaged me and said, what went wrong last night? I thought that was a great night. I didn't get the signs. I didn't know anything. I did not read a single sign because I just thought we were just hanging out.
I've never been that guy who just wants to go out and have sex. I've never been that guy.
It's weird.
That's ever interested me. I realised at a very early age that I need a connection with someone before I can do that.
Yes.
You know,
exactly.
for reasons that I'm definitely not going to go into on a film podcast. but I understand that there are people like that, and if someone just wants a casual meet up with someone and hope it's going to lead to something else, it doesn't. Even though you can watch it and go, "What a prick," you can understand the guy just met with a girl, he's kissing this girl on the couch, and it's going somewhere. But suddenly the girl's got to keep leaving, thinking, "You know what? It's a bit much for me. This I'm not."
Okay, maybe it's just not his thing. I've got to understand.
It doesn't make him a bad person to realise I don't want, and that's what I mean. That's why it's a good film.
Yeah,
it doesn't make him a bad person to realise, you know what, I actually can't get involved with someone who's a single mom because I'm young myself and I can't get involved in this. I'm sorry. It doesn't make him an arsehole. He's an arsehole to say that's a little bit too much
reality for a Friday night, which I think that's the thing that he's. I think it was the way he did it, and that he could have at least stuck it out for one night just to help her out. Is there anything you need? Is there anything I can help you with? You know what I mean? I would have at least left it without insulting her and making her feel bad about her existence, and that's probably how I felt. Yeah.
Even the people who go around and rob him, because he's drawing that, because one of those nasty robbers is an attractive guy.
So much for love.
And he's drawing him, isn't he?
Skeet Ulrich from Scream, that was. Yeah.
It is, yeah. And you can see he feels bad. There's a part in it where he feels bad about what he knows is about to happen to Greg Kinnear. Not bad enough to not do it.
Oh, because I don't think he realised it was going to go that far. I think he didn't, and he just thought they were just going to steal stuff. But because they caught him, he was trying to keep them away. He was trying to keep them away from being seen because he knew he would get beaten if he got seen, and that was it. And he did. It does make you think about how you feel about certain things. It is wow. We went deep on As Good as It Gets. I mean, that's
I probably could have done a podcast all by itself as that film.
Yeah, I mean, some of these really do deserve their own podcast, but no, that's fantastic. Thank you. You added a lot to that. Brilliant. What's your next one, man?
Right. Okay. Well, my next film I would argue is this man's best film is Jackie Brown.
If you're gonna come in on this thing, you got to go all the way.
$500,000 is up for grabs.
Don't go doing something stupid.
And a whole lot of scamming is about to go down.
Let him get the money and just take it from him.
The setup, the shakedown, the mix-up, the showdown.
Booyah.
Pam Grier, Samuel L. Jackson, Robert Forster, Bridget Fonda, Michael Keaton, and Robert De Niro.
Is she dead? Pretty much.
Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown. Rated R. Now playing.
I actually knew you were going to get that one too. It's funny how we kind of know each other. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, this is my favorite Quentin Tarantino film. But I think it's based on a novel called Rum Punch by Elmore Leonard. I think he's dragged different stories and put them all together and created this.
That's what he does. He likes to have his cake and eat it.
He does. 90s cake and eat it. But Jackie Brown's a flight attendant who smuggles money from Mexico into the United States for this guy called Ordell Robbie, who is Samuel L. Jackson's character in it. And she gets tangled in this, like the police find out what she's doing and sort of make her work secretly for them. She's also working for Samuel L. Jackson, and it's like a bit of a tangled web.
Yeah.
But all the time she's playing everybody. She's the brilliant person in this. But to me, this film is all about the bit parts. It's all about the small little parts in it. It's all about the dialogue.
Yeah.
Chris Tucker's in this film who's annoying, but you can get him. He's brilliant in it. Everyone is brilliant in this film. I love the little moments in this film is what I love the most. Things were before De Niro had found comedy, he was always funny. Like there's parts in Taxi Driver where he's funny.
Yeah.
In this film, he's just got out of prison. He's trying to lay low, but he's staying in Samuel Jackson's character's place. Jodie Foster's in there. Bridget Fonda's in there, not Jodie Foster.
Bridget Fonda, yeah. This was her one of her last roles before she stopped acting because she became a mom soon after.
Yeah. And the scene where they're both lost in the car park trying to find the car, and she just like going at him and making him feel shit for losing his car because Robert De Niro's character's in it. He's a bit stupid. He's not the brightest person in the world. And he's just like getting more and more, and he just ends up shooting her in the car park because he's so annoyed with her,
But this is it, yeah. I mean, and it's funny and savage at the same time, and that's a great blend. That's the kind of Quentin Tarantino blend right there.
It is.
It's funny, but unexpectedly, yeah.
But it's such a Robert Forster's in this film.
It's well cast.
Yeah, it's well cast. He plays a detective in it.
Heather Graham's in it, isn't she? Or am I wrong? I might be wrong.
Oh, I'm not sure if Heather Graham's in this.
I
Michael Keaton's in this as one of the.
I think I'm mixing it up with something else.
Yeah, Robert Foster's like a private eye, isn't he? And
yes,
then you've got Michael Keaton. I forget the other guy's name. Who, Michael Keaton's playing the nice guy cop, the nice cop to the bad cop who's in it, and he's great. And it's just I think it's a perfect storm of great actors, great writing, great directing.
Yeah, and this is
brilliant film.
This is, of course, when Quentin Tarantino was you couldn't go wrong. And people wanted to work with him. I mean, he got Pam Grier back on the grid.
Yeah,
he got De Niro.
That's what
doing
he did,
something,
didn't he?
He got De Niro doing something different. It's either that he pulls them from obscurity, or he puts them in under a different light. I mean, he did that with Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson, gave them something else. With their roles in production. John Travolta,
Yeah, John Travolta is what he did with Pam Grier. But because of Tarantino's love for blaxploitation cinema, he loved Pam Grier. All the films that he did, he grew up watching that, and he wanted her. It had to be her in the film. She had to be Jackie Brown. And just the fact that she's the one who's playing everybody at the end of the film. She knows exactly what she's doing.
She's super smart. She's fly. She's got it.
Yeah, it's just an incredible film. Brilliant film. And I would really argue that I think it's his best film. I think it's his best film.
Absolutely. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I do have a fondness for this movie. It's good fun.
It's brilliant.
It's not too hard to watch,
No, first time I watched it, I thought it was. That was the interesting thing, because Reservoir Dogs is not as long. Pulp Fiction, whereas all the storylines going at the same time, which all sort of come together.
Yes.
This, but this to me shows that there's this amazing filmmaker and intelligence in Quentin Tarantino.
That's it.
It can come out, And then after this, really, what should be my favorite Tarantino film was like Kill Bill, which I love. But this was starting to get to the point when Tarantino was at that point when no one could tell him. He could just do whatever he wanted with his own films.
I mean, look what he did for Uma Thurman's career throughout, since Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill, but also David Carradine pulling him out of obscurity. It's almost as if he was the film doctor at that time. It's like, his career is slipping. Get Quentin to go and have get him to do something. Get Quentin Tarantino to come and save him. Jennifer Jason Leigh she was in the Hateful Eight?
Yes, she was. Yeah.
And it's like, we haven't seen her in a movie for a long time. I want to, he wants to just save Hollywood in a way. It's like keep these people relevant. Like,
it is, but the problem with the Hateful Eight is basically they all just beat the living shit out of it.
It's hard work, that one. It's hard work.
Yeah, and it starts to become the point that you hate women, Quentin. Really despise women, because they go through they be in a Kill Bill as a pregnant woman having the living shit kicked out of her.
But then
she gets herself, but she gets back at them all.
Yeah.
Still, you've got a pregnant woman who's having the living shit kicked out.
Is that the problem with our perception of women should, we should never hit a woman and all of this kind of thing? And it's like, well, what if the women want to actually be that kind of a a person. It's almost as if they're not allowed to be that kind of, savagely.
Does it have to be so brutal?
Does it have to be?
Brutal?
But would it been as brutal if it was just men? I mean,
yeah, but when that guy's having his ear cocked off in Reservoir Dogs, he turns the camera away.
He turns the camera away. Well, but that's another thing you wouldn't expect, because it's a man. You're normally there with it. You normally.
Why not have a woman have the shit kicked out of her? You don't have to see it. The camera can still turn away.
They still could, but then it just becomes a thing of turning the camera away whenever we think that it's going against the norm.
Beat the shit out of men then, as well as just women.
Well, as both. Yeah, I mean, it could have been both. I mean, but this was about. Yeah, and it's such an interesting discussion, because it's so hard to kind of say, well, what happened if this was a man? What would happen if this was a woman? What would happen if it was black, if it was white, or Hispanic? Or
well, that's the thing, and it opens a discussion about, is he a problematic filmmaker?
Yeah.
Is the use of the N-word too much?
Yeah,
it's throughout this film.
Exactly. Does it make sense? Does it make sense to the story? Do people actually talk like that? Yeah.
I mean, it's Samuel L. Jackson saying it a lot of the time, but he wrote it.
Yeah.
He's just acting what has been written.
Yeah.
So there's a big discussion there. There really is.
Because he's had a fight with interviews. It's like because violence is fun, Jan. I remember that interview where he basically tells her it's because it's fun, violence and it's fun, and that's the deep down, unfortunately, people love. They get a kick out of watching people get the shit kicked out of them. It's people,
I love horror films. I do.
I know. But why do we? Why? I mean, right now everybody is obsessed with either superheroes or the apocalypse, and it's like it's either one or the other. But it's like, well, where does that come from? What are we fascinated about? What is it that says about us? That
Well, I think superheroes, we'd like to live in a world where there's things like that.
Yeah.
There's these superheroes that can sort of protect us, but also make us feel like, well, actually,
yeah.
That's what X-Men's good at, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, X-Men is better at it than all of them, because they kind of give superheroes a more of a realistic struggle. So yeah, and
wow, who knew that talking about Jackie Brown would lead to that?
Perfect.
Oh, okay. What's your number 4? Stop me ranting about.
I know we're kind of segueing a little bit, aren't we? So we'll keep it. Keep it down. All right. So number 4, I've got a Good Will Hunting.
Oh, me too.
Because that kind of tells me a lot about what our number 5 is going to be, because it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Okay, so the next 2 are the same then. Okay.
But yeah. Okay. So Good Will Hunting, Gus Van Sant directed, but written by 2 kids
at America's top university.
There is a problem. My colleagues and I have more than 2 years to prove. I'm hoping that one of you might prove it by the end of the semester.
The most gifted mind
Who did this?
is the person who cleans its floors. Meet Will Hunting. He's brilliant, charismatic, rebellious, and he's about to meet his match.
Playtime's over, Chief, all right?
Robin Williams, Matt Damon, Good Will Hunting, rated R.
Yeah, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were barely scraping their 20s when they wrote this together. They've been in a few things. Matt Damon certainly had his big circles in Hollywood. He knew everybody from the Brat Pack and everybody who was,
Yeah, and Ben Affleck and Matt Damon especially Ben Affleck were turning up in the Kevin Smith films. He's in Mallrats.
Yeah.
Which we talked about. And we talked about, with 2 friends who were trying to make it, and then, I was talking about Swingers.
Yeah.
But they were trying to make it, so they wrote a script and got a film made. Well, that's what these guys did. They
were inspired by that, and you can tell because they wrote the script. But what an amazingly mature script.
Yeah.
To write for that age. I mean, you look at it and you think, there's no way. There's no boobs, there's no guns, there's no car chases, there's no horror aspects to it. well, there's horrific, but it's more anguish and internal, and it's turmoil, and it's hidden rage, but it's all there in this film, and it's about Matt Damon's character, who is this math genius, who is definitely on the spectrum. I'd say he is. There is autistic traits, but that's never ever talked about in the 90s because that's something that we kind of talk about later. But he's undergoing a psychological evaluation because he keeps on getting into fights. And basically,
he's a real troubled guy.
Rager.
Isn't he?
He's a rager, and
he works on a building site, and he's a janitor at this university.
He works, but he's working. At least he's working.
Yeah.
But he's got a circle of friends who kind of revere him. They respect him, but when they're all together, they just kind of have this rage inside of them, and he gets into fights, and he's the one who kind of gets into the most trouble. And so they decide, right, that's it.
He's got this thing inside of him, hasn't he? But he's rebelling against it because he feels, in some ways, he doesn't deserve what he has.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways he just wants to be with his friends. He wants to work on the building site. He wants to work as a janitor and drink beer with his friends, and he's happy with that.
But then, of course, the mathematician who kind of recognizes that he has this inner genius inside of him, which is probably his crying out. It's almost as if he's crying out by using his intelligence. And I think
what he does, doesn't he, is he's at the university and they put equations on the wall and someone has to try and fix it.
Yeah.
Anyway, he gets answered. This equation gets answered, and he don't know who's done it, and no one will come forward and say who's done it. And then one day he's walking and there's Matt Damon writing on the wall.
Yeah.
He's like, "What are you doing?" And the guy just, "Well, sorry," and Matt Damon just runs off. You're like, "Fuck you," and runs off.
Yeah.
And then he look, he goes, "It's right." But then he realised, fucking hell, we got this guy who's the janitor who's
but it's not. But I think what he sees is not. It's not the fact that he's a mathematical genius. It's that this is locked inside of this person who is a troubled kid, and so therefore he needs help. He needs a therapist. And who else?
That guy doesn't really care about what's wrong with him. He just wants him as like a plaything.
Yeah, it's a toy thing.
It's sort of like a toy thing. He's like, "You're my little son." There's one bit when he's going through his equation, he just runs his hand through his hair, like, "Oh, I'm really proud of you.
You could make me brilliant. You could. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I want to be the person that's discovered you.
That's kind of it. Yes, it is. It's very much the master who is basically doing things for his own. Yeah, but in order to get him to cooperate and to be this person that he wants him to be, he has to get therapist. And who better to have as a therapist than Robin Williams? I mean, holy
Robin Williams is incredible in this.
Yeah, I mean, they got the Oscar for writing. He got the Oscar for performance, and again, since Robin Williams passed away in, was it 1995? Sorry, not 1995, in 2015. Sorry, since he passed away, I haven't been able to watch many of his films.
No.
And Good Will Hunting was one of those films that I know if I watch it, it will wreck me. And it's incredible, the power of that man and what he's able to deliver on screen as somebody who is, we know him to be funny. We knew he was always funny, but there are just films like Dead Poets Society, Patch Adams, and Good Will Hunting, these films where he breaks himself down into this real human torch of emotions, and so lovable a character than this. I mean, all he is just a therapist who's there to help Matt Damon, and he ends up being this father figure, this figure of absolute everything that you'd want from a therapist is right there.
Yeah.
And he's also troubled because he's been trying to get over the loss of his wife, and you know there are things around him that he's keeping and holding on to that he needs to let go of.
Yeah.
And so they help each other, and it's a beautiful.
That scene where Matt Damon he looks at that painting he did.
Yeah, and he wrecks him. Yes.
He went, that's a real. Did you paint that? He's like, yeah. They go, that's a real piece of shit. He's like, all right, tell me what you really think. He went, and then he just
tells him.
Matt Damon starts to deconstruct it. You know what I mean? And then, but Robin Williams, the way he acts to that, he sort of just basically puts his hand to his throat, doesn't he? And nails him up.
Yes. It's
amazing. It's so amazing. And then when they meet at that on that park bench, and he just says, "Just in one thing, you shatter my world." He goes, "But it just occurs to me that you could tell me anything about Leonardo da Vinci. You could tell me about the Sistine Chapel. You don't know what it's like to ever been there.
To actually see the.
You could tell me all this stuff,
yeah,
but you've never experienced it because you're just a kid."
Yeah.
And then the next few scenes is they just meet up and never say a word to each other. They just sit there and you walk off. And it's such a game of... You know, we talk about the game of chess.
Your move, Chief. It's that.
Exactly.
And then
we talk about this in brilliant films. It's the game of chess.
Yes, it is.
And Robin Williams wins because it's sooner or later, it's Matt Damon's character, Will Hunting, who then just starts talking.
But you know, the amazing thing about this is that Matt Damon knew Matt Damon's character Will knew that he couldn't hold it in, but he didn't want to look as though he'd lost. So he just starts talking as if they've been in conversation all that time throughout the silence.
It's brilliant.
It's almost as if he's like saying, I haven't lost because we've always had this discussion. We're right in the middle of it. So let's just forget that whole silent that competition is over and we're talking now. And and it's amazing. There's not a foot wrong in this movie. Even Minnie Driver is fun in this film. She's a good laugh.
Brilliant.
She's so likable, and you can understand. Yeah.
What I love about it is like you could have her as just she's just the romantic interest, but no, she's on par with everybody else on this film.
She's got
just as funny as them,
personality.
She's wittier than them. She's intelligent.
She's got this and this, and it's not the hat. She's got this and this. It's so much, and this is a role of a lifetime for her because they didn't just give, like you say, she's not two-dimensional. She has got so many, even the laugh. even the joke in the restaurant that she tells that she's trying to bond with Will's friends, and she makes an effort in that, and it's like it's also heartbreaking when she doesn't get what she hopes for, and it's like the phone call between them when he doesn't say anything and she's in tears. You're right there with her, man. And
you are,
and it's like
that's all because she can see how good he is. He's a good person, and this genius is not what identifies him as a human being. That's not who he is. He just happens to be a genius.
Yeah,
that's not what he wants to. He's not really interested in it. He just wants to let go of his past and all this horrible stuff that's happened to him, which turns out was abused by his dad.
Yeah, it was a big thing, and it doesn't have to be seen. They didn't have to do flashbacks. You know what's going on.
Yeah,
this is an exact example of perfect screenwriting because they never show it, they never tell it, they never show it. It's always implied, but you still know.
Yeah,
and what then
leads?
Lets you.
And then what leads to one of the greatest moments in any film I've ever seen is their last moment. They've cured him. He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
And they're just having. I can't talk about it without crying. It's getting me going now.
It is. Yeah.
But just basically saying, well, this is great, And he said, oh yeah, and it's a little thing at the end where it turns out that Robin Williams has been beaten by his dad as well.
Yes, exactly.
He said, I went for, I always went for this. And Will's like, I always went for the belt. Oh, really? You went for the belt? Yeah, because fuck him. Yeah. You take that. Yeah. He took the bait, and
that is such a.
Don't talk about it. Makes me cry.
Yeah, because I mean there's meaning behind that, and there's.
I had a similar moment in therapy myself where I had something very similar like that. I was never, nothing like that happened when my dad, I was never beaten by my dad. I had great parents, but some of the shit happened to me, and I had a similar moment in therapy.
Yeah.
Where it was But she just kept repeating something over and over until I just
it's not your
broke
fault.
down.
Yeah, it's not your fault. And that's the thing. And it really, that's when he breaks. And that's when he has that breakthrough. But of course, there's the romance at the end, that need for romance. And they don't do the whole Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan thing where they have to have that meeting on the pier and everything's great and they kiss and then we go to credits. No.
Yeah.
It's said with one line, and we know exactly what's going to happen. We know that Matt Damon's going to go and find Minnie Driver and go on with his life because he says so in a note.
Yeah.
And that note says, "I got to go see about it, girl."
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's even Robin Williams when "son of a bitch stole my line."
Son of a bitch stole my line, and it's like that was improv. That was an improvised line as well. That was not scripted. Yeah. That was and. Dynamite, pure dynamite, and you know what? Anything can happen in this decade, but we couldn't have gone through it without this movie. It's one of those movies that is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Also, talk about improvised lines. That story that Robin Williams talks about, his wife waking herself up,
farting and wakes the dogs. Yeah, it's improvised.
It's improvised. He just made it up.
Yeah.
He said she used to fart, and he's like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, sometimes she just wake herself up." And then Matt Damon's laugh is just real. It's a real laugh.
Real.
He's laughing his arse off, and Robin Williams just being Robin Williams.
It's great. Yeah.
He's still not breaking character. He's still being the therapist.
He's letting it happen.
Oh, it's unbelievable film. Unbelievable. Now the cynical people watch this. Have you seen the Louis C.K. talk about this film?
Oh no.
Oh, but it's good. It's funny, and I get where he's coming from. He's
okay.
like, I'm gonna be right about this maths genius. He's like a maths genius. I'm gonna write this film, and I'm gonna play him because I'm genius. It's just a cynical point of view.
The cynical point
of
view.
And it is funny.
I get that. I get that. It's writing yourself into a movie where you can be everything that you would love to be, but in a way, Matt Damon hasn't really faltered from that. He's actually, from what I can tell from the people who know him, his personality speaks for itself. From what you see with his stuff with Jimmy Kimmel, he's a great person. He stands up for teachers because his mum's a teacher, and he really gave somebody a almost Good Will Hunting-esque speech to a reporter who was talking about that teachers shouldn't be going on strike, and he gives a whole rant about Matt Damon's there explaining about the dollar and what it means to them, and what it means to have the wage that reflects their skills and their love and their heart. And it's such an amazing little interview. But I can see Good Will Hunting there. I don't think that he didn't write this character to just be a genius to big himself up. He genuinely has these qualities inside of him, and that's what made the script so good. He had to play the role because it was him.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not sure he's played a role as good since.
No, I don't think so. But then I like We Bought a Zoo. I think that's a charming little movie, and it has that kind of similar heart to it. But yeah,
which is a Cameron Crowe film.
Yes, it is. I like that one.
You know.
I liked it. It's kind of
No, it's a cute little film and it's nice. But I mean, he did the Bourne films and he can do the action guy.
He could do action guy, yeah, like Keanu Reeves could. You know, it's that.
Yeah, he did the what's the Ridley Scott film when he goes to Mars and he has to.
I was about to say Black Hawk Down, but that's not him. The Martian, of course.
Martian, that's it. That's a brilliant film. He's great in that.
He's in Saving Private Ryan. He was in that one as well. So
we've not talked about the lovely little scene between Ben Affleck and him, because they're best mates in real life.
They are, yeah.
You know, and Ben Affleck just saying, you know, he's saying, "Oh, I just want to be that." He goes, "You have any idea how much every day I hope you're not there when I come and pick you up? Every day I hope you're not there. You've gone
because you've got so much going on. Us. You know, you should be out there doing
this
more.
Is it. This is my life.
Yeah,
this doesn't have to be this for you. You know, it's awesome. And their friends all club together and buy him that car.
That's it, yeah.
Even that's brilliant because not even that's sentimental because they bought him that car. And it's a beautiful thing that his friends have all come together and bought him that car for his birthday. He's like, that car's a real piece of shit. It's brilliant,
but it's perfect.
What a bloody script! It's perfect.
Yeah,
it's
perfect.
Is,
and it's wonderful. But there's so much. I mean, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, they could have gone Kevin Smith and just written all these scenes together and just have fun. They could have written a very Kevin Smith kind of a movie.
Yeah,
but they didn't. They stayed true to this vision and they held it together beautifully. And I think that's an astonishing achievement for both of them for such a young age. Yeah, it's great.
You know what we have to do at the end of when we got to 1999? We'll have to either do another episode or at the end of 1999 is we'll list all the films we've talked about for this decade and we'll do a top 5 of our favorite. So we.
That's so damn hard.
I know, and it's going to be difficult for Good Will Hunting to not be number 1.
Yeah, we almost like we should just do a poll. You know how they they have this league board, list all the movies, this versus this versus this versus that, and see who votes who to be the best one. We can do one of those kind of like a tournament hit. Who should beat this, who should beat that. We could probably do that. Actually, we could probably decide ourselves who gets knocked out. We'll do a knockout.
That'd be good.
Episode. Okay, we can figure it out. We'll figure it out. So now we know our last film is going to be something that we've both got, and because it can't be anything else.
No.
So ready? We'll do it in 3, 2, 1. We'll say the name of the movie and the director.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because of the director and the sort of film it is, we have to go 2, 1, 3.
Yeah. Okay. Ready? 2,
1,
3. Spice World.
Lost Highway.
You know their music.
Hey, these are the Spice Girls!
But until you've seen Spice World, you don't know Spice.
Is my dress too short? No.
Spice World, rated PG, opens everywhere Friday.
Burn Hollywood Burn.
Burn Hollywood Burn. Yeah.
The most anticipated motion picture event of the year. Hollywood's hardest-hitting action stars. A white-knuckle thrill ride. There's just one problem with this movie. The director doesn't want you to see it.
What? A big story from Hollywood. The director of the blockbuster film Trio
has stolen his own film from the lab and disappeared.
What?
Hollywood Pictures Home Video presents the motion picture that takes aim at Tinseltown. An Alan Smithy film, Burn Hollywood Burn.
It's about art.
I burnt the picture.
It was called Alan Smithy, Burn Hollywood Burn.
Right.
And it was dreadful.
Oh, what a terrible, terrible film. Okay, no, we're talking Lost Highway. Lost Highway.
David Lynch's Lost Highway.
We've met before.
Taped us while we slept.
This is why we're going to need an episode to talk about it. So let's just kind of skim the surface. We know what it's about.
Yeah. It's about a saxophonist who's got a tricky past and a tricky relationship with his girlfriend.
That's it.
And can go to jail and turn into somebody else, who then has a different life because he's a mechanic. Richard Pryor's in there as well.
And not Richard Simmons. Who's the other guy? Oh,
Harry Busey's in this.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, Patricia Arquette's in this. Bill Pullman, Robert Blake.
Robert Blake. That's who I was thinking of. Not Richard Simmons. It was Robert Blake, who is the guy who he meets at the party, who is this mysterious character who appears in his own apartment.
I Met Your House Now.
I Met Your House Now, which is a great scene. It's probably the best scene in a it's right up there. But this is a David Lynch film, through and through. This is him.
It really is. It really is.
He's gone away from kind of like those road movies, biopics, and there's kind of like he's run away from science fiction. He's totally found his genre right here.
He has. Well, this is just purely Lynch, isn't it?
Yeah, and to just
because his film before this was Wild at Heart. Wild at Heart.
He did, yeah.
Which is very Lynch. Wild at Heart's really Lynch.
It is really Lynch, but at the same time, that was kind of like the you know what was going on in that film. This is when things start to get interpretive and deeper and back to a Razorhead kind of sensibility of not fully knowing exactly how to take this movie and how to explain it and how to sell it. You know, it was pretty much sold as kind of like an erotic thriller, not erotic, but a romantic thriller. But that's not what it is. It's so much more.
Oh, it is. I mean, this has got like a noir vibe to it, hasn't it? It's like a film noir. It's
very noir, yes.
It's obviously it's Lynch, so it's surreal. It hasn't got a narrative, or it has, but not a narrative that you can really explain coherently. And whether you think you've got it right and you tell Lynch, this is what I think it is, it won't tell you anyway.
No, it's like, it's a movie. I made it. It was.
I remember it was either Kermode or someone else who said to him, goes, right, Lost Highway, this is what I think, and give him the whole thing, and at the end Lynch just went, no,
this is what I think it is about. Nope, it's not. But it's great because you got Bill Pullman. He plays it's eclectic jazz, right? That he plays.
Yeah, it's like a free jazz sort.
Free jazz eclectic, but he really kind of gets himself out. It's almost like Harvey Keitel in Bad Lieutenant kind of sexual aggression kind of comes out of it. Very a lot of energy. But Patricia Arquette, she's kind of very sweet in it, but she's also very dark and mysterious. You know, it's a great film, but it's like you say, it's so hard to describe. It's David Bowie opens up the picture with that cracking song.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
you feel like you're on a ride. You are being dragged into a David Lynch film, whether you want to or not, at high speed down this road.
It's I'm deranged in it.
I am deranged. Da, da, da. It's
song. Yeah, I'm deranged. Yeah, I thought
that's it. I'm deranged. Is Jack Nance? Does he appear in this movie? He is. He's the guy at the cowboy.
Mechanic.
Is it the mechanic or the cowboy? Oh yeah, he comes out from under the car. He's the mechanic. Yeah, I think he plays.
Yeah, because the cowboy is Mulholland Drive is the cowboy, isn't it?
Yes, that is the cowboy. It's in Mulholland Drive. I get confused. I'm getting the Harry Dean Stanton-esque kind of vibes coming from that. That's the thing. I mean, I get very confused when I'm talking about this movie.
I think
lost.
To do this film justice, I think we need to watch it and then really talk about it again.
Yes,
I've not seen this in a while.
You have to be fresh with it, and that's the beauty about this, because you can keep going back to David Lynch films because it's like unwrapping a present, but then but the present is under a cloth, and you can't see it, but you can feel it. You know it's a present.
Because it's like Bill Pullman's character thinks that Patricia Arquette's character is cheating on him.
Yes, that's right.
Doesn't trust her. And then he finds a videotape, doesn't he? He plays the videotape and it's them in bed together.
Yeah, so somebody has been coming into the house and filming their intimate moments. And leaving the videotape on the doorstep, which is a great idea. You know,
it is. And then they meet this mysterious man. Because I'd argue that this film's a horror film.
Yeah, it very much is. I mean, it's hard. It's
when you
hard to
talk
get
about
through.
Lynch, no one does dark as well as Lynch. You know, like a car, they could just be this house now, but dark and a corner, and all of a sudden it's terrifying. Lynch is really good with dark and light and how he can do things and sound and all that, and it's what he's brilliant at. Which the many things he's brilliant at, but wow,
It's how people make entrances through doors and how people kind of use the room, use the space. He always thinks in terms of paintings because he is a painter. He's an artist, and he always thinks about how the space. I mean, every single scene that you set up, the room is as much of a character as the actual person who embodies it, and there's that feeling, and there's nothing you can really touch upon that even scrapes the surface about how you can describe a David Lynch movie.
Yeah, because I mean, he goes off the deep end, doesn't he? Bill Pullman's character, and he ends up getting arrested.
That's it.
And they put him in jail, and then when he's arrested, the following morning, you go in there, and he's a different person.
That's it. Yes.
And it's like, what?
It's very Exorcist 3. It's kind of like that. But it's kind of not. You know, it's weird.
Someone explained, and I think they're wrong, but someone said to me that he thinks Lost Highway starts in the middle of the film, goes to the end, and then the end goes back to the beginning, and then that part goes to back to the middle, and that's narratively how the film is. I don't think that's right. But it's pretty much at the halfway mark of the film, where obviously Bill Pullman's not there anymore, and it's this kid. And then Patricia Arquette now doesn't have blonde hair, but she has black hair, and she's a different person.
Yes.
Or is she the same person who's leading a different life? We don't know.
We don't know,
and
but
is she the girlfriend of the gangster, or is she the girlfriend of Bill Pullman's? Again, are they two separate people? You just don't know. You don't know.
You don't know. And the amazing thing is that, you know, Lynch doesn't work in terms of space and time. This isn't like an alternate reality thing. It's happening. It's happening as it is. And you have to take it at face value. That is what is just happening. You don't start thinking, well, maybe there's an alternate reality where things are different and he's a different person. No, and I think that's probably the whole point, is that everything you think that could be a reason in the normal terms, it's just not.
No,
and it's just a movie. It's just telling.
It is. What Lynch sort of understands is, you know, we as humans, we want everything to be binary, don't we?
Yeah, we want
everything to be this and that and have this timeline of things. Or human memory doesn't work like that. You don't remember exactly how things it is. Our eyes only take in a certain amount of the information. Your brain goes, that's what it is.
Yes.
That's why people think they see ghosts sometimes, because they'll look into the corner room, you see something in the corner room, and your brain goes, this is what it is, and you see a ghost. But it's not. It's your brain trying to fill in the gaps for you to work quickly.
Yes, it's the whole...
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's what Lynch knows better than anybody else. Any other filmmaker knows that, and he knows that memory is not correct. Your memory of certain events is never going to be correct.
Never accurate.
And he can mess with that within these films, and that's why you get this dreamlike state. Because what is remembered or what is happening is never what is being remembered or what has happened.
Yeah, because the way you watch it is probably you're pulling up points that I wouldn't have pulled up, because your experience of it is different than mine.
And that's precisely what a David Lynch film is all about.
Because it's almost as if he's giving everybody a personal gift.
Yeah.
Every single person watches it has their own gift of a movie, and it's not like anybody else's gift.
Exactly, and that's what he finds beautiful. When he says like things are beautiful, he loves it. That's what makes what he's doing beautiful, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Everyone, me and you could go somewhere and something happened there, and both of our experiences will be completely different.
Yeah.
And that's what it's got to be. If anything, his films are more real than most films.
I just had this really bizarre religious thought about Jesus and the loaves and the fishes.
Right.
Because I always think that David Lynch talks about ideas coming as fishing. He's like fishing for ideas, and it's like it's catching fish. And it's like, it's one movie, but this movie is divided up into so many pieces that he's able to feed everybody with their own idea of what the movie is about. It's almost as if everybody's got their own loaf, their own fish, and he's fed everybody, and that we all come away full. Okay, nourished. Isn't that the kind of like the?
Yeah, I think that's right. So basically, we're saying David Lynch is Jesus Christ. Is that what we're saying?
That's it. But I didn't want to say it because I thought, well, that's telling you that's your interpretation. I didn't say that he's Jesus Christ.
Ah, yeah, okay.
I'm telling you that he is DL, not JC.
Jasper Carrot. It's definitely not Jasper Carrot.
Not Jasper Carrot. No, he's back on tour, by the way. Please see.
I heard about that. Yeah.
He's doing it. Good on him.
Well, Jasper Carrot was in the Detectors. Was in the Detectors with Robert Powell,
who also played
Jesus Christ.
Yes. Bodoom.
Lynch knew it all along.
He knew it. Yes, Jace. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, believe us when we say it's a great film. Go see it, and it is probably one of the most profound things you'll watch next to Mulholland Drive. I mean,
yeah, next to
Inland Empire.
Inland Empire, fucking hell, Inland Empire.
Well, we still haven't done a podcast on that. We've got so much to do, man. So little time.
Oh, we have.
Yes.
Maybe we'll have a Lynch season. Should we just maybe once we get through this and talk about a few maybe more modern day things?
Yeah.
Let's go Lynch. We can go like his short films.
We wanted to do the Return series anyway, so we can. Wow. That's 18 episodes of wow. At least we have something to talk about. Well, that might have to be a different podcast other than Frame by Frame. That might have to just be.
Could be. We could have a sister podcast Lynch thing.
Yeah, but we'll see.
There's lots of podcasts about Twin Peaks, isn't there? But
yeah, there is.
If you're gonna do it, would you like to go Twin Peaks right to the beginning? So watch the first season, second season, Fire Walk with me, and then the Return. Could we do that? Have we got that in us? Have we got the time to be able to?
I mean, okay. How many episodes? I mean, if we're doing one episode per show, it's going to be like the seventh that Star Trek show of Kurt Lofton, that podcast where they talk about one episode every episode. He went through the entire Deep Space Nine, and now he's going through Next Generation.
Wow.
But I mean, if we have it, if we can actually really stick it, I mean, the thing about David Lynch is like you kind of have a binge and then you've got to stop, and then you have to go, oh, I've gone too far, you know. And so sometimes you just need to kind of peel the onion slowly. But I don't know.
What I find with Lynch really is kind of the opposite. If I start, become obsessed, and that's it. All I'll want to watch is Lynch.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I mean it becomes...
ages, and then I want to immerse it. I want that to be my life is David Lynch, and I can't allow myself to do that because I've got other stuff I need to do.
Yeah, he is basically a cryogenic chamber where you go to sleep for 57 years, like Ripley, and that is the Lynch experience. You wake up and said, I can't believe how much time has passed. You know, once you've done through it, you don't realize that, you know, your wife's left you, your kids have gone, you're living out of a.
I'm in a bed sit in Huddersfield somewhere.
Yeah,
living in my pants.
Wondering
with a really
why.
Good TV.
With a really good TV. Wondering what really happened in Inland Empire and what's next. You know.
Yeah.
Have I finished? And that's the kind of rabbit hole that you go down with Lynch.
Yeah.
And it's so we'll have to think about it. We'll have to think about it, how we could do
about
it.
But,
how could we do that so that we don't end up divorced living
It might be safer just to do his films, go with Eraserhead and then go through his films. Might be safer that way.
Definitely. Yeah. So there we go. That was 1997. But is there anything on the Jackie Chan market?
Well, there is. Yeah, I'm regretting this Jackie Chan thing. I think you can feel that I just want to talk about it and put it to one side.
Bitten up. Yeah, you don't have to. We don't have to. Yeah.
Well, there was a film that came out in 1997. It's called Mr. Nice Guy.
There you go.
And it's based in Australia. He plays a chef. It's all right film. It's directed by Sammo Hung, who we went to Chinese opera with. And he plays a chef. There's a news reporter in it.
How many chans?
There's a great set piece in it where he's fighting around this this industrial complex thing, and there's like saws that are actually going. He flips over saws, and it's really good. But yeah, give him a good 3 out of 5 chance for this. There's some good moments in it. It's a good film.
There you go.
Decent. I mean, it's badly acted and all that, but
yeah,
obviously. But
because he's basically getting to that. This is the Hollywood era now. He's not making the best choices, maybe.
Well, I think he just puts films out as it was, and being directed by Sammo Hung, it's got some great. I'm doing a disservice because the film itself, it's always a vehicle to see him do what he does, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And now it's become a thing. It is that thing. It's now a vehicle.
And so it's like he's a TV chef. What?
Ah.
But also he knows kung fu and can fight all the bad guys.
Yes.
And yeah. But yeah, so it's worth watch. It's got some good set pieces, good fight scenes in it. Yeah, there you go.
So it's Drunken Sous Chef 3, is it?
That's it. Otherwise known as Mr. Nice Guy.
Mr. Nice Guy. There you go. Wow.
Okay.
1997. So 1997. Yeah. Some honourable mentions. Let's go quickly through the honourable mentions. Of course, you mentioned Grosse Point Blank. We've already talked about that in the film. We've also talked about Alien Resurrection.
Yeah,
and,
obviously, just to quickly, Grosse Point Blank is one of my favourite films of all time. It really is. I think it's a brilliant film. So to not mention it was difficult for me not to put it on the list, but I had to. Obviously, one of the biggest films of all time, Titanic, was released in 1997.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Devil's Advocate was one that I was struggling with. I wanted to put in there because it's quite dark, quite savage, but I don't think it was as well written. I think it was well acted and performed, but it wasn't as tight a movie as I wanted to.
Boogie Nights.
Yeah,
it's a good film.
It's a good film. Crash was a very interesting Cronenberg film, a very disturbing kind of idea. But there's some incredible prosthetics, and of course the body shock part of that, putting actors that we know and love in roles that are very difficult and different.
Yeah,
and that was hard work. James Spader and Holly Hunter doing gashes and cuts and bruises and then having sex. It's just weird.
Yeah,
but it's still very good. It's a very strong film. It's
I nearly picked The Fifth Element.
You did?
I like that film.
Yeah, it's fun.
I nearly went with that. It's a good film.
Con Air
Starship Troopers came out.
Yeah, Starship Troopers. I remember that there was a magazine that actually sold you, a newspaper sold the trailer for that. They actually sold trailers on little CDs for your computer to watch and some bonus.
Yeah.
And I remember getting that. Con Air and Face Off, of course, were the action flicks for that year.
Yeah, Con Air is a great film,
It is.
Con Air is brilliant. I love Con Air.
It's
got Cusack in it as well.
It does, yeah. Yes. And Cole Meany. Meany Cole. Conspiracy theory.
Obviously because Scream had happened, we have Scream 2, but also I Know What You Did Last Summer, because that triggered a whole new slasher stalker thing.
Yeah, it's not long before we get Final Destinations and we start to get the whatever happened to Halloween, Friday the 13th, and all of those kind of start to kind of claw our way back.
Princess Mononoke, I nearly picked, because that's a fantastic film.
Oh, never heard of that one.
Yeah, Japanese anime. It's great.
Oh, of course. There we are. Yeah. In and Out.
Matt Damon in The Rainmaker with DeVito.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, it was the John Grissom era. We're beginning with Pelican Brief, The Firm, Pelican Brief, A Time to Kill, and of course Rainmaker.
Yeah.
That's when it started to dip off, I think. But it's still.
Donnie Brasco. Donnie Brasco was a good film.
Interesting, but I don't really remember it that much. My Best Friend's Wedding,
Breakdown with Kurt Russell.
Breakdown with Kurt Russell, which it's one
brilliant
of those
film.
Enjoyable films. It's also a great role for J.T. Walsh, who was one of my favorite villains of the 90s. J.T. Walsh used to appear in films, and I could tell he had a heart of gold. That guy, he was always like the smoking man, kind of like the cancer man from X-Files. Night in the Garden of Good and Evil was a mysterious film in 1997 that nobody ever talks about.
Another Cusack film.
Another Cusack film. I know. And it's like, The Peacemaker with George Clooney and Nicole Kidman, which is kind of like a misfire film, but the soundtrack is incredible.
Yeah.
It's Hans Zimmer. I think it's his emotional best, his emotional peak in terms of action. But it's got a couple of good set pieces, but not really exceptional. Face Off.
Wow. Face Off's dreadful.
It's a weird film. The game.
I'm going out and say
David Fincher made the game though, and that was an interesting film, but not as exciting as 7. So there we go. I think we've kind of But hang on, we do have one honourable mention. The other British.
Go on.
Spice World the movie.
Oh, Spice World the movie, of course.
And
but everything in it. It's got horror. It's got sci-fi because there's aliens in it.
Yeah.
The acting's horrific. Oh, it's just perfect.
It's perfect.
I will argue that Roger Moore is good in that film.
Why not? Why not give him the trophy for being in a Spice World movie? That's it. You just have to be there.
In it.
Yeah.
And everyone just thought these girls are singing, they're doing a thing, girl power, and people just want to be in it because they love the concept. But Roger Moore was like, I think he's the executive of the record company or something, and he just says weird things.
That's it.
Which I really like in it. He'll go, do you know that the drummer with no feet has no backbeat? And everyone's like, okay. And I just love him for that.
Well, that's great. Brilliant. Okay, so thank you very much for being here and getting excited about some really cool films. We'll be back next time for 1998.
Yeah, nearly there, man. Nearly there.
Yeah, we nearly survived the whole decade again. Whoa! It's fun, man. It's good stuff.
Brilliant.
You know where to find us: Spotify, iTunes, of course, YouTube,
Castbox.
What's that called again?
Castbox. So I use it because everyone uses all the same stuff.
Yeah.
So I decided I'm going to use Castbox because no one uses that.
Yeah, use Castbox.
There we go. It just turned up. I was like, oh, there we are.
And what's funny is it tells you how many episodes we have. And none of the other devices actually tell you that we have, 78 episodes?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
It's like,
a lot.
Well, we do it. So we have to remember when we get to the 100th. We have to know when we've got 100 episodes because that'll be a milestone.
Yeah. Well, once we got off, I'm going to have a look on Deezer because I stream music from Deezer, not Spotify. I want to look at Deezer and see if we're on that.
Oh, I'll have a look there, yeah. See what other cross-platforms we've got. So please look out for us, Frame by Frame. We are no longer, I have to announce, of course, now we are no longer found on StephenRadford.com, so do not look for us there because StephenRadford.com has been abandoned. I have finally closed down my personal website, so luckily everything is now hosted by Spotify, so it's up to them to keep us going.
You've done it.
Okay. Let's go. So time to cue.
What's the podcast called? Frame by Frame, you know?
Yeah, it's called Frame by Frame.
Yeah, we're not on Deezer.
On Deezer. Damn it.
Fine. Yeah.
What's the point?
Them bastards.
That's it. Come on. All right, cue Tom Cruise. Thanks a lot, Andy.
Thanks, man. See you next week.
See you next week, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Next year, I got it.
I feel the need for speed. Ow! Charlie, don't surf!
This is fantasy.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Quit griping.
I like griping.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.